It's time for Republicans to do what they have to do, and that's terminate the filibuster. It's the only way you can do it. And if you don't terminate the filibuster, you'll be in bad shape. We won't pass any legislation. We should start tonight with the country's open. Congratulations. Then we should pass voter ID. We should pass no mail-in voting. We should pass all the things that we want to pass to make our elections secure and safe, because California is a disaster.
Now, you understand when the president says we should do this, we should do that, it's not really a suggestion. He's dictating, he's giving the Republicans the blueprint, and they'll probably adopt it. Republicans got demolished, of course, last night in elections across the country. Trump has figured out what the problem is. Republicans haven't passed enough unpopular legislation, but he's setting out to change that. Boy, he's brilliant, isn't he? This guy, who didn't think of that? What's his approval rating? Like, I don't know, 36% now or something like that. He does have a roadblock in the US Senate, though, and that would be the senators who have no intention of caving to his demands for now. Here's Senator Kennedy, who went on the record about Mr. Trump's demand.
I said, Mr. President, the job of a senator is not just to advance good ideas. The job of a senator is also to kill bad ideas.
And how did he take your response?
Well, like you would expect.
Not happy?
He wasn't unhappy. I mean, the president didn't yell or anything. We're not going to change the filibuster or the blue slip while we're in charge during your or my natural lifetime.
So what does that mean? He didn't yell. Did he kick you out like he did President Zelensky? I mean, what does that mean? Like you might expect, how we might expect him to act is to, like a baby, a disaster, throw a tantrum. So in other words, he definitely did yell at him. Senator, come on. Kennedy's not the only one that's going to face Trump's wrath. He is reportedly preparing a pressure campaign, AKA bullying, threats, especially on the filibuster, to harass senators until they fold. Here's how one Trump advisor described it. He will call them at 3 o'clock in the morning. Can I just pause there? I turn my ringer off, homie. Like, do you have to take a call from the president at 3 a.m. when he's got an issue? He's not behaving in a well manner. He'll call them at 3 a.m. in the morning. He'll blow them up in their districts. He will call them un-American. He will call them old creatures of a dying institution. Believe you me, he's going to make their lives just hell. Can it get any worse? Another advisor told Axios that Trump is really mad about Democrats being able to force a government shutdown, now tied for the longest in history, even when Republicans have control of the US House, Senate, and presidency. If they were to abolish the filibuster, they would have the votes to reopen the government without extending the ACA subsidies Democrats have been fighting for in the short term. Trump is not making any attempt to hide his desires either, having the White House account tweet this. If we got it with the all caps, okay? Terminate the filibuster. Okay. What time did he send that one? That looks like an early morning one, something overnight, maybe like, I don't know. Looks like, I'm guessing 2:43 a.m. that probably was sent. If Democrats were to come out of 2028 with a similar trifecta to the Republicans, anything is possible, including statehood for Puerto Rico and DC, which would completely change the power balance of the Senate going forward. That dynamic explains why there's so few Republicans in support at this time. Fox News reported on Tuesday, current Senate Majority Leader John Thune believes there are at most a dozen Republican votes in his caucus in favor of scrapping the filibuster. Just a dozen. After the Democrats' clean sweep on Election Day yesterday, it's hard to imagine that support is growing. So there's some who are saying, even with the threats that Trump is so good at, we will not cave. We can't cave on this one, because they're looking into their crystal ball, the future, saying, wow, when the Democrats, we know they're a little shy about doing these kind of dastardly deeds, but when they get in power, and it looks like they will, the things they could do to us. They're not trying to really preserve the institution. I mean, these aren't institutionalists, Jackson. These are people saying, we might not, we went pretty far. We've done a lot to the American people. we can't do this. This is nuclear. What say you?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, this just goes to show how impulsive and, completely lacking in knowledge Donald Trump is about everything, because this is not to his benefit. If you get rid of the filibuster and open up that door, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Republicans to stay in power, because the truth about the Democratic Party is they really don't have to be all that progressive for their popularity to skyrocket. And what I mean is, they don't have to implement Medicare for all. They could do a public option. They could raise the minimum wage up a significant amount. They could put forth a wealth tax or a capital gains tax that would, balance out the playing fields and provide more funding for things that people need in their daily lives. They don't even have to go that far to the left. If they did things like that, then they would win everything, because what would be the point in voting for Republican? A lot of the discontent for the Democratic Party is that they don't do the bare minimum when they're supposed to. So if they got rid of the filibuster, I mean, it could be just completely over, because we're seeing people like Mamdani win elections, and regardless if they're not as quote unquote socialist as he is, they could just be moderately to the left, and their policies would be very popular compared to Republicans.
But what about people who argue that the Democrats just don't have the muscle? They just don't have the courage. They just can't eat raw meat, okay? Or liver, like the Liver King. They're not willing to do that kind of mean hammer type. They weren't going to pack the Supreme Court. Why wouldn't they just expand the court? Okay. So they don't have the ability, the courage, whatever words you want to insert there, Jackson, that even if the Republicans did end the filibuster, it's not going to matter. What about people who say that?
Well, I mean, overall, yeah, we still are dealing with, incredible levels of corruption from corporate America, and one man individually put $300 million into the election, and Elon Musk. $20 million got Linda McMahon the position she is over the Department of Education. But at the same time, I think that, what change is inevitable. Change is always on the horizon, especially right now when the establishment is just completely crumbled and not working. So as you have people who are in their early 30s, mid 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, starting to run for election, I think we're going to see more people who push forth just common sense policies that'll make a difference.
Well, we'll see. And maybe it's a coalition of people. It seems to be. And I talk about Mamdani. I know we're going to move on here, but his coalition, you have young people, some older people, Jewish people, Muslims, different people, different backgrounds coming together saying, you know what, we want your way. We want to do this the right way. And we think that's your way.